Hi, and welcome to FBC Missions So That podcast. Today is our second part of an interview we did with Leena, our Southeast Asia missionary. It's really awesome. Hope that you enjoy. Hi, and welcome to Season 4 of FBC Missions So That podcast. This is an encouraging place to hear how God is working in and around us. We know that He blesses His people so that they can bless the world around them. And we're going to be discussing how to join God in all that He is doing. Why is God working in our life, church, and community? It's so that through us, the world will know that He is near. Even last night, we were talking in a perspectives class just about how the Lord has moved and worked and changed some of our hearts. We had an instructor that was talking about the idea that the incarnational ministry that it takes to care for people who are in poverty, you have to go, be among them, love them, and in some ways be one of them. Like it's the way that Jesus left his heavenly home, steps into humanity as one of us, as a baby born with no utility. He can't change anything. He is completely dependent on his parents, all the way to the point of giving himself to the crowds and feeding the hungry and caring for the hurting, the poor, the sick, the demon-possessed. There's all these different stories from the Gospels. And then, of course, ultimately giving himself on behalf of all humanity, right? He paid the price that no one could pay, but he became one of us so that he could be like us, and we can identify with him, and he can identify with us, and it's such a powerful thing that I think so many of us miss is we want to help people. We want to help from a distance, almost like your pastor friend. It's like, this is too messy for me, so I can pray, but it took someone else to pick him up and move him to where the water could go on to him and he could be baptized. And so oftentimes I use words like human thriving, like what it takes to see people thrive in their life. And there are some places in the world where it's very difficult. Obviously, when someone gets diagnosed with a disease like leprosy, or they get diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, or if someone's an orphan because their parents have passed away through any of these things, and it makes it very difficult for them as a human being to thrive, for them to have the dignity that God gave them when He created them in His image. And so even as I'm listening to this early part of your story, what strikes me as just so clear is how the Lord gave you compassion, and you put yourself into the middle of their pain, in the middle of their story. And in many ways, you became like Jesus to them, where you stepped into their world and loved them in His name. And God began to use you to impact their lives in such a meaningful way. And you're talking about other people who came and were visiting and seeing how God was working through you, and they're inspired to maybe catalyze your work to do more than you could do by yourself. And so already, and we're 30 minutes into this, it's amazing to hear how God revealed Himself to you in such a way that through you He could reveal Himself to others. And what a powerful thing. Maybe as we continue, we're going to continue the story, but one of the things that strikes me, and this may be a little political, so if you're listening, hold on to this for a few minutes. This could be interesting. Almost every part of the world that I've worked in, most of the world is male-dominated, where men hold all of the power in the society and the culture. And what I know about your country is very similar. So men have all the utility. They control the bank accounts, the money. They're the ones that go out for work often. And if they don't have, if a woman doesn't have a male in their life, a husband in their life, or a father in their life that can take care of them, then sometimes they struggle. You've already mentioned prostitution. You've mentioned some of these diseases. You've mentioned even the prostitutes that get a disease and they're cast out. How did you, as a female, as a woman, begin to do these things without a male leader? Even within the Christianity in your culture and within your country, it's almost always a male leader. You were talking about baptism. So I want to ask you specifically, like how did you, as a woman, make that movement to say, if no one else will baptize them, then I can do that? Even sometimes in the Baptist world, that's a difficult thing. So how did you work through those things in your own heart?
Yeah, in my culture also I have discrimination uh, to women. Women should not preach, should not give baptism. But I firmly believe that I am the child of God, and I God gave me this vision to reach the unreached people with the word of God. So the Bible says mainly two commands: love your God with all your heart, and the second one, love your neighbor. So if you really love your God, you will listen his commandments. And if you really listen his commandments, you will love your neighbor who is in your street, who is a sick person, who is in the prison, who is suffering from hunger, who is thirsty. So if you help to these people, you are loving God.
I fully agree. I've written several articles that really tie into the Great Commandment and the Great Commission, and especially the first and second, right? The love of the Lord your God with their heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second one is like it. It says, love your neighbor yourself. And if you really dig into those two statements, they're inseparable. And what I mean by that is if you try to say that really the only main one is to love your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then you just forget the other one, then you can be a Pharisee where you have all that you think you need to do, and yet you do little of what God's called you. Or if you separate the other one and say, no, God's fine, but I'm going to love my neighbor. Today we have this big argument even within American Christianity that talks about evangelism and that separates it from social justice. And the social justice is all the humanitarian aid. You're doing all these things to help people. And on this other side, you have this evangelism, church planting, and some will say that this is the only thing you need to do the church planting because that's the gospel. And people need the gospel because if they don't have the gospel, they might not go to heaven. And then somebody said, well, they can't even hear the gospel if their needs are so tragic that they can't even begin to think about what the gospel might mean to them. They're in crisis at all times. So what can you do for there? And the gospel, these two commands, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor, are so interconnected that if you can't separate them. So you cannot love the Lord your God with all your heart without loving your neighbor. And you cannot love your neighbor if you don't love your God with all your heart. So you can do nice things for your neighbor. You can be completely social justice oriented. You can be a doctor trying to help and serve and care for the poor. But unless you love God, you can't care for them in the most important ways, right? And you can't love God if the only thing you do is worship and pray and read your scriptures and you don't care about the humanity that God has put around you. And so I love that. So you began to act and do the things that maybe other people in your country would tell you shouldn't do because the gospel compelled you. Like somebody has to go to these people. And so you went. And so you served. And so you began to baptize.
Yeah, I firmly believe that social work and God's work are inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. If I am really the child of God, God said to both men and women. So I want to follow Jesus in action.
I think you should continue to follow Jesus in action, Leena. It's inspiring to hear. And I know you and I are going to have opportunities for more conversations on this later. And so I look forward to understanding even more. But continue then. So you began to act in this manner, caring for specifically, we were just talking about the leprosy home, 15 lepers. What happened next?
I started the home for the elderly people, and that also I don't have any plan to start. There is a real story. At traffic lights, I saw a very old woman begging. She was asking everybody for food. No car, nobody was stopping their car and helping her. And I stopped my car. I asked her, why do you want, why are you begging? She said her children kicked her out. She became beggar. So I said, I don't have food with me, but I have food in my house. Do you come with me? She said immediately, yes, I will come. Take me to your house. So I took her to my house. I fed her food. She was with me for 3 or 4 days. And I said to myself, okay, there are so many people like this. So I want to show the love of Jesus Christ to them. So I started the elderly home for such old people who were beggars at that time. And next, I started the home for the orphans. Parents died, children. And for that also there is a story.
Tell the story. I can't wait to hear it.
So I found one boy very sick. While I was walking in the village, I found one boy. He was crying. And I stopped there and I was observing why he's crying. And he was sleeping under the tree. And after a few hours, his relatives came and they gave him only water, but this boy was asking food. I went there, I asked his relatives why you are keeping him outside. They said he is HIV positive. Parents died and we don't want to keep in our house. We have children, they may get. So we kept him there. So I took him from that tree and started a home for him. And we already brought we already had 17 children now, and some children they were grown up and we did marriages also for them. They have one child for one girl, 2 children for other girl. So now and then I visit. According to our culture, the girl's parents must come and visit now and then and pay money at the time of their labor. First delivery, second delivery, third delivery. So as a mother, I am fulfilling all these customs, and I visit them, and those children are calling me grandma.
Oh gosh! So how many children have been in the orphan home?
Now
over the
we
years?
have 17.
17.
Yes, but 9 were married.
9 of them are now married.
Yes.
Okay.
They are all grown up.
That's amazing.
So
That's
now and then I visit their houses.
Yeah, and you get to act as the grandmother. You're taking care of
I
those
celebrate their children's birthdays, and I paid money to their hospital bills
for their
when they
deliveries.
delivery.
That's
Yes,
unbelievable.
and on festivals, I have to give them clothes. It's culture to wife and husband and children, the whole family. So I enjoy myself.
That's you're so. Just another side question: do you have children of your own? Do you have
No.
biological children?
No, I don't have. But my sister's daughter, my niece, lives with me, and now she completed her business post graduation.
Okay.
And now she's helping me.
Okay.
In all these work.
So you have
social
many
ministries.
adopted grandchildren and children, and it keeps you plenty busy, I'm sure. That's amazing. That's probably a lot of birthday parties that you're going to try to take care of these families.
The funny thing is, my son-in-laws also call me mommy.
Your son-in-laws. These are
My girls
the
husbands.
husbands of your
And
adopted
my
daughters.
daughters-in-law are also
Uh-huh.
calling mommy, because these children call me mama. So
Yeah.
their husbands
Yeah.
and
So
wives are.
you're like their parent. That's incredible. What a blessing. The Lord has given you many family beyond your relatives,
Yes.
and what an incredible thing. So you started the leprosy home. You started the orphanage.
Adults HIV hospice.
The hospice for the HIV, the elderly home,
Yes.
and that sounds to me like that would be enough. I imagine like people listening say, "Wow, that's a lot." Like I
There
can't
are so
imagine.
many.
So what happened next? Keep going. The story continues.
When my niece was very little, I took her to the neighbor city. There is a small park, so I took her to that park. So I saw some children at the park gate begging, small children begging. I talked with the children, why you are begging? My parents only send us to beg here to get money. So they don't give us food. With this begging money we buy. So that I moved by listening to them. So there are some thatched, very small tent houses. These children live in that area. I met their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Why you are sending them to begging? They said, we are very poor, so we don't have money. The children gets money by begging, and we eat. We feed them. So why you are not sending them school? They said, we can't, because they have to beg and they have to eat. I said, okay, I will feed them. Don't send them begging. But my condition is you must send them to school, not for begging. I will feed them. So some parents came forward to say yes. So like that, I started with 23 children.
Okay, at least you started with just a few, 23.
23 children. Now we have 107 children
107.
going to school, and that is slum area.
This is a feeding program then? You're feeding their family?
Feeding. And also I started after school program for these children. The reason is that is slum area. And some mafia, the bad people, they target this slum area. They come and steal the children.
Yeah, they recruit the kids and take them.
Selling them and selling their kidneys, their eyes.
Oh, gosh.
And for girls for prostitution. So now and then it is happening. So these parents come at 7 o'clock in the night time, and the school closes at 4 o'clock. So in the gap 4 to 7, these children were playing in the slum area, and some are becoming scapegoats to this mafia.
Because they were just very vulnerable in those 3 hours each day.
So I started after school program. These 3 hours, they will be with us. They stay with us, and we have some teachers who help them to do homework, and we feed them. We give them rice, lentils, soaps also, coconut oil, and Christmas clothing, sweaters, blankets. Yeah, I'm so grateful to my donors who trust me a lot and help these children to make difference in their lives.
Yeah, the scope of what you've described already is really amazing, and obviously the Lord has provided people around you that help, again, catalyze your work. So by yourself, maybe you couldn't do these things, but with people supporting and caring and meeting, hearing about what you're doing, they can help meet the needs through you to many people, many. I think I saw a slide yesterday that there was over 12,000 people per month that you're able to engage with and care for through the scope of your ministries. And we're still just getting started. So
there is another, just like this also story, real story. There is a Hindu pilgrim center near to my place. Once I went to see that pilgrim center because my great grandfather was the Hindu priest at that time for low class people. So when I went there, I saw some children begging at the pilgrim center. The same story. I talked with the parents, and the parents challenged me, "Are you ready to feed our children?" I said yes. When I said yes, I didn't have single rupee also in my hand. Just my faith is in Jesus. So I said, and we started to help to 16 children.
16 children.
So now we have 29 children.
29 children. And this is in the community where you live.
Yes. And there is one school, government school. These children are going to that school. And we started after school program also. Same story. Parents won't be there in the evening, and to give them protection, we started after school program, not only protection but helping them in doing the homework, because parents are illiterates. They don't know much about the value of education. So our teachers, we pay the salaries to the teachers, and teachers are helping them to help do the homework. And same thing, we give them rice, lentils, Christmas clothing, sweaters, blankets, and taking them to seashore picnics, beach. Yes, they like beach.
Of course.
So,
wow. All of that is just overwhelming. What else do you do? This sounds like the kind of things that take over any person's life. Like, I know people who've started an orphanage and they have spent their whole life caring for that orphanage. Or I know people that have started a school and they have done, worked so hard to start a school, or even a hospice care center, or any of the things you're doing could be one person's contribution, and that be exciting and wonderful. But here you're the catalyst for starting so many things. You mentioned early the sewing center that helped the lady come out of prostitution. You've mentioned so many different things. You talked about even micro business, helping ladies learn how to sell things and make things and sell candies or whatever to try to fund themselves and be sustained in their work and have opportunity to take care of their families in different different ways. How do you find the energy, Leena, to do all of those things? That's a lot.
It is also secret. The more I work, the more energy I get. And beside this, I started computer school for the young people, rural young people.
Like young adults.
Young adults. They are all from rural areas, countryside.
Sure.
And also beautician course for women empowerment, spoken English, because the students who learn computer, they have to attend the interviews
They
in
have
the
to have
cities.
English school.
In cities, they must know English.
Yeah.
English. So we started spoken English classes for young adults, and also for young women, beautician course, and hand embroidery, machine embroidery, tailoring, martial arts also.
I heard you say that yesterday. Martial arts
for students only, to protect themselves from my enemies. And also auto driving. Auto means three-wheeler. Three-wheeler.
Well, tuk-tuks.
Tuk-tuks. So the daytime we are teaching them auto driving to the young adults, so that they can hire the tuk-tuks and get money in respectable way. And if they don't have employment, they will become gangsters, or they will become thieves. They will become antisocial people. So uh, I started all these courses for young adults because that is the age perverting to bad things or coming to good things.
Sure.
So,
Wow.
And also we there is a jungle. There are so many tribal children. They don't go to school. So with the help of my donors, I am giving them rice, lentils, feeding them, and even clothing also, sweaters, blankets, and also we are taking care of their mothers at the time of deliveries. So it is jungle. They don't go. They are scared to go to hospitals, so they give delivery at the hut only. No hygiene.
Hygiene, yeah.
Hygiene.
It's like a midwife.
Yes, we help them. Yeah, we help to such women.
Do you have like professional healthcare workers that help with that, like nurses or even doctors, maybe?
No, we don't have doctors, but we have one staff, and that staff lady bring them to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And in the hospital now they are delivering children. We also tell them how to keep their bodies clean at the time of nursing the babies. So yes, we are helping to the mothers also, and we are giving counseling to the fathers not to drink alcohol. Yeah, just we drink coffee and tea. They drink like that.
Yeah.
They make alcohol from some different flowers in the
jungle.
In the jungle. So we are helping to 250 children in that jungle.
Oh my goodness.
We are feeding. I'm so thankful to my donors, making their lives happy and a change in their lives.
So I just want to interrupt for a second here. For those of you who are listening, if you wonder how you can be a part of this or how you can help Leena do the things that she's doing, reach out to us here at FBC, and we'd love to get you connected on ways to be supporting. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that make it impossible for us to put that contact information here. But the one layer of separation, if you want to reach out to FBC, First Baptist Church in Boerne, send us an email, call us, and we'd love to talk to you about what it looks like to be supporting this work. It like I mentioned before, more than 12,000 people per month are being helped by different ministries that Leena and her team are working through. And again, you've just listened. You've heard so much that Leena's team is doing. I have visited your country multiple times, but I've never met with tribal groups in the jungles. That to me,
dangerous.
I imagine. I've read stories about tigers and some of the dangers of the jungle, black bears, and I can't imagine what that must be like engaging with thick jungle within that culture and country, and people that are living primitive lifestyles. That just seems
Many
so
times,
different.
Police also stopped me in the jungle. You are a woman. Why you are here? What are you doing? Are you terrorist?
Are you terrorist? That's where the terrorists hide out.
And they searched my cars, and the trucks loaded with rice, lentils, soaps. They checked it, and sometimes we give them dresses, clothing.
Sure.
So whenever we go, the checkpost people, officers check our.
I'm sure. We are so thankful that you joined our podcast today. We would love to hear any feedback you may have for us. Remember, Psalm 67 says, "May God be gracious to us and bless us, and make his face shine on us, so that your ways may be known on earth and your salvation among all nations." Don't forget why the Lord blesses us. It's so that we can be a blessing to those around us. Until next time, God bless.